Hey, welcome everybody to a brand new stream of Looking at Media. And Timothy, obviously me. We're going to be doing some more Filemaker today, or this morning anyway. It is morning for me. So what we're doing today is we're basically going to work on admin and management sections, pages. And we're also going to do some work on, hopefully we'll get the time to actually start doing some things with our other pages. Like we're going to be doing an inventory page pretty soon, and we're going to have to kind of go through how to do that and what we're going to do, because we're going to use that inventory on multiple occasions. So we'll probably have 4 or 5 different copies of it, and that a lot depends also on how you are going to present your system, or your solution. So if you are doing a just let me go. If you're doing a multiple register system, let me push this button here because we want to actually be able to start editing the layout. So what we're going to do is let's just dive right into this. Let's just get right into it. So the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to need to manage our database, because currently we have nothing in there for our admin or our management. So we do need to add some tables for that. And oh, we do. We have an admin and a back office. There we go. So the back office would be the management section, and the admin would be the other section for administrators. So we'll just double click on the admin, and the very first thing that we're going to want to put in there is the date. And we'll just Control D, because all we want is a date. We don't really need anything else, or we don't need anything interesting, but we may want to do a security box. I find that you don't necessarily need to put in a security box, so probably the best thing to do is just put in the date, and we'll go ahead and call that create. We don't want to put in, we don't want to get it too involved, so let's just start with that. And if it develops into a situation where we need to add that to our solution, we can always come back and do that later. Another thing that we want to do is we want to go into our back office, and we want to do the same thing. We want to be able to put a date in here. So we'll just type in the date, and it's already on date, as you can see, so we don't need to change any of that. We're just going to go ahead and create that. You don't need an ID for either one of these layouts, so you don't, because you're not going to be creating any records. And what I mean by that is like on your inventory page, you're creating and deleting records constantaneously. But on pages like the back office page and your admin page, what you're basically doing with that is wow, my system is like going crazy. Josh, did you? Never mind. My system went all the way down to red. So hopefully we're not buffering too bad for you guys. But what that means is you're not going to actually create any records inside of that window or that part, that page that you're going to, or the layout that you're going to create. So you don't need an ID number for that whatsoever. So we've already done that. Now let's just go ahead and say OK. Now let's go into manage, and we're going to go into manage. We're going to manage our layouts, and as you can see, we have our templates here. Let's create a brand new folder, and our new folder we're going to name unused. You can name it pretty much anything that you want to, but there are the basic ones, the ones that come out that we never actually use. So we're just going to call this unused, and we'll say that that is good. And we're going to move this because we want it to be all the way up here at the top. And we're going to have the My Solution inside of there, the menu, the register, the invoice. I think that those register and invoice ones, basically, we're not going to need those because we're going to create a page that has its own name later on. So the menu, the register, and the invoice, those are all going to be unused, because if you go to those pages, if we were to open one, and I can kind of show you, but if we go to this page and we open it, this is what we get. We get absolutely nothing. It's like, as you can see, just a blank page. And we're not really going to be using that at all. So let's go ahead and close this page out because we don't need it. But that's why we're putting them in an unused file, because we're not really going to use them. We're not going to dress them up. We're not going to do anything with them, but they still exist. So we just kind of want to get them out of the way. Now we don't need to have these available for viewing. So we're just going to go ahead and uncheck them. So by unchecking them, if you were to go to, and here I can even unclick the unused. So let's just go ahead and we're going to close this out real quick. And if we exit the layout and we come over here to this little window where it says the layout window, it's going to show us which ones are checked. So the template, the back office, and the admin ones they're available. So we have them. But we don't want them available. So let's go ahead and go back into our manage our layouts. And we do need to take our back office one and uncheck it, and our admin one and uncheck it. The only ones that we really need right now or available are going to be our templates. So this back office one, we're going to go ahead and move up to here into our unused file. And this one, we're going to move into our unused file as well. Most of what we're going to create is going to be used, but we don't want people to be able to just click on this button over here on the layout and then be able to just go wherever they want to. We want them to use the register, use the system as we create it. So we'll create buttons for them to travel from point A to point B and not have to deal with actually that drop-down menu. So as you can see, we've just unchecked all of these, and if we click this little minus button, it just collapses that, and it puts all of the folders that are inside that folder, or all the files that are inside that folder, kind of in the backspace, so you don't have to worry about them. Now, we do need to go into the template menu, and we need to duplicate that, and we're going to duplicate it twice, but let's just start with this first. Just do it one time first, and we're going to edit it because we need to change what it does and where it does it and why it does it and all that other interesting stuff. So this one, because we're only going to need one, we're just going to name it exactly what we want. So ours is going to be called admin, and I think what we'll do is we'll just write admin window. I think that'll work the best. And we want it to be part of the admin. So show records from admin. And then you can save records automatically on changes, delineate fields on records, whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter. Those things, because like I said, we're not creating records. We're not doing anything with the records. So we'll just say OK. Now we have this admin window, but that's not where we are. We're on template menu, template menu. So we need to actually get to that window and then create it. So we can either, from this window, we can either open it or we can go to it. I would rather go to it than I would open it now, just because it's going to create a dual window that we don't want to deal with. So we'll go ahead and we'll close this out. And it's just Linda. And we'll go here and we're going to go into our templates. And as you can see, our admin window is there. So we'll go ahead and click on the admin window. And now you see that your quantity and your security box, those two things have changed just a little bit. And we're going to take our date and we're going to delete it. We'll take our invoice lock and we'll delete it. And then we can go in and do our administrator, security. And if you're going to use an administrator security box, or you're going to put in a security box, then you can leave this here if you want to. But I personally myself don't need it, so I'm not going to be using it. I apologize if my internet is buffering or there's some stuff going on with it, because I see that the numbers are just going like crazy this morning. I'm not really sure why. But all I'm doing is I'm highlighting them, and then I'm going to push the delete button on my keyboard, and that will get rid of those. And now I don't want a lot of stuff on this, because this is basically just going to be my little window for things to happen. So I want to get rid of probably most of these things here. Not going to need them, so I'll just go ahead and delete those and delete those. These windows can come in handy, but I don't see where you would want to use them on an admin page. So I'm going to go ahead and delete those as well. My layout label, I can go in now and change it by double clicking it. And I'm just going to get rid of this. And I'm going to write in administration, and we'll click off of it, and now you see it says administration along the side window. Now this part I want to go ahead and I want to center this. I want to very much put it in the very center. And then the cool thing about this is you can expand it. So by moving it like this, you're actually going to make the window either bigger or smaller. Isn't that so cool how you can just do that? You could just like change what it does. And these things, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move these over here. Now, one of the things that we did not do is we haven't programmed in these buttons yet, but that's okay. We're going to create these as we get them. Like on the menu page, one of the things that you're going to want to do on the menu page is you're going to want to make sure that you create that button so that when you duplicate it, it will be the same on all of them. So right now, what this says doesn't really matter. I mean, we can still have invoice, but we're going to have to write the script or tell it what to do when we write that script. And the same with menu, exit, and execute, whatever we want to do. So we'll actually change those. But some of the things that we're going to do, and you see just how quick and easy this actually was to do. One of the things that we do need to do quickly is we do need to, I'm just going to grab all of these things and I'm going to just push down on my control, but the little directional pad on the bottom. I'm just going to kind of bring them down a little bit so they're kind of out of the way, because I want to put something up here. And what I'm going to put up here is basically, I'm going to put some text up here. And I believe I want to, before I even get started, I'm just going to go ahead and go to Bookman Old Style. I'm going to go ahead and put it at 14. And now when I type, it will be Bookman Old Style and all that stuff. So, and I do kind of need to watch where it's going. So, and we're just going to quick write in something very fast. This page is for administrator use only. Let's just quick type that in. Administrator use only. Access to this page is restricted, and let's just say is restricted. So that will work out just fine for me. I mean, later on I'm going to change it and make it bigger, but for right now, because I usually put something in there that, you know, like if you're on this page, you're going to be in trouble, blah, 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 you know, get off of this page if you're on this page, return to the main menu, all other people, return to the main menu. I make it very scary so that if someone does end up on this page by accident for some weird reason, they've done something and they're capable of accessing it, I like to kind of scare the bejesus out of them and make them say, "Whoa, wait just a minute! I'm on the wrong page. I need to get off of this page immediately." And that works really super well. A lot of times, just to kind of fend people off and keep them from getting on your page, because this page is the most important page. Excuse me, I got something in my eye other than my fingers. This is the most important page of your entire solution. And what I mean by that is that when we fill in these windows and we go to places that we're going to create on this page, you have complete and total control over everything. So if I were to put, this one was to be monitor, and this one was to be inventory, and this one was to be you know, daily sales, or whatever the case is, you have the access and the control to change anything at a whim. So we try to keep that out of the hands of the normal employees and even out of management. And the reason why we do that is because it's so easy to accidentally make a mistake, to, you know, just get in there and then accidentally touch something and really mess stuff up. So this page is like super, super, super secure. And what we can do to super, super, super secure this is we can create a window that, like that security box that we were just looking at, we can actually create a little window down in this bottom section where you see this little bottom thing that I did. This currently has nothing. It does nothing. But if we go back into our managed layouts, our database, excuse me, and we're on the admin one, what we can do is we can put in a I'm just going to call this a security link, and I'm just going to put a space in it because I don't care. And that's one of the cool things about this. And you can leave it as text. You can do whatever you want to. You can have it a number if you want to. It doesn't really matter. And this will make sense later. Unfortunately, I can't make sense out of everything. Some of my earlier streams, I really worked very hard to try and explain everything as I was doing it, and then all of the background that was involved in it. And the problem with that is contextually it's so gigantic and it's so enormous that I literally would have to spend an hour just explaining something. But what this is going to do is this little box, and if you double click on it, it'll actually give you the field and all that neat stuff. And so, and right now it says display data from menu product code. Well, that's not what we want. So we're going to go and we're going to click on this little this little clicker thing. Oh, wait, it's going to give us a thing. So let's go to here. Let's go to, got to go up, current table admin. And we're just going to call that our security link. And if we double click on it, now it will change it. And it'll say up here, admin security link. And we'll just go ahead and close the inspector. So now what we're going to do is let's just do it, and then you guys will get it. So if we go into our templates and we go into our template menu, and this is this security thing right here. Now, when we type it in, and we can start doing that really super quick. So let me show you how to do that. So if we exit the layout, it kind of gives us a window where we can do some stuff. Oh, you got to create a record. Okay, new record. We don't care. We'll just go ahead and create the record because right now it doesn't really matter. And you see that our date instantaneously popped up. So now we have a date, 12/08/2017. So you guys know what date today is. And then we have this thing. We need to go, let's edit our layouts, go into layouts, and we will do our set tab order. And we need to clear all of the tabs because we don't want any tabs on. And we'll just go ahead and say that that's okay. Now if we exit the layout and we come over to our administrator, it kind of leaves an open box, right? But it's to the side. So I want to go ahead and fix that really quick while I'm thinking about it because I like it to be centered. Just like this one, I like it to be centered. This one on that side, okay, all that looks really good. Let's go back into edit our layout. So now if we come over here, it gives us a window. So at this point in time, what you can do is you can create a code for yourself. And it can be anything that you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, it doesn't matter. But make sure that it's something that is exclusive to you and that you will never, ever, ever change. But you can change it. Don't worry. I mean, you can change it. You can recreate it. You can bring in all kinds of interesting things. But just this window is what we're going to actually work on really quick. That's going to give us an ability to go to where we want to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our execute button. Oop, I got to edit layout. Okay, so go into our execute button. And right now it says do nothing. Well, we wanted to perform a quick script. And so we have no scripts, as you guys can see, right? There's 0 scripts. So we're going to add one. And we're going to call this one admin. And let's call it admin because we're actually going to add. So we'll just call it admin access. And we'll call it good. Now what we want to do is we want this window to do something very specific. So we'll just say if we'll click off and then click the little FX. So if, and this is our security box, right? If our security box is equal to, and then this is where you put in your parentheses and you put in, let me move this window really quick. Let's see if it'll let me move it. Okay, so now you guys can see it a little bit better. So if the menu security box is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll say okay. Then what we want it to do is we want it to clear the window, So we will set a field, and we'll specify the target field, and it'll be the security box. And the calculated result is just going to be quotation marks because we just want to clear it. So we'll call that okay. But we do need to move this up into the if statement, right? So if it is equal to that, we're going to clear the field, and then we're going to go somewhere. And then, so we're going to say go to layout, and we'll move that up. And we'll click on the original layout, and now it's going to give us where do we want to go. So we want to go to the admin window. See how this really helps? Because what we've done is all the unused ones, we've cleared them out. So you're not going to accidentally go to the wrong place. You're going to go to the admin window. You're going to go to where you want to go. So we'll say go to the admin window. And then you can end if and halt script here. This would be pretty simple. And if you just click in this big white space and you type in halt or H, a lot of times halt script comes up. If you don't have halt script in your favorites, okay? So now it will just go there and it'll halt script. But it's not necessarily what we want to do. So we're going to go to the layout, and then what do we want to do? We want to set a field. So if we highlight this, we're going to go in, we're going to say set field. And we're going to specify the field, and that field is going to be in the admin section. And it's going to be the security link. And then, so that's, we can't set the field because we actually we can set the field. So we can, excuse me, I haven't had enough coffee. We can go into calculate a result. So in this particular sense, what we can do is we can either put our password in there, we can put your name in there, we can put whatever you want because it's a text, right? So we can say that we wanted to say, welcome Tim. Oop, it's backspace. Let's do the quotation marks and then do welcome. And we'll just say okay. So then it will end the script and it will halt, it'll end the if and then it'll halt it. Now remember, we're just doing this super basic. Wait, we got to go back into there. Because in between the end if and the halt script, we still want it to clear the box even if it's the wrong one. So let's go ahead and say set field, specify field, the menu security box, say okay. The calculated result is going to be, and I know this seems kind of redundant because we're having to do it twice, but unfortunately that's just the way that it is. Now, if you guys have watched some of my previous ones, you can actually create a thing, and we will do that on the next video actually, but you can actually create a space where when you put a number in, it'll go there, and then it'll, like your number. So if you're a manager, it'll take you to the management window, and if you're an administrator, it'll take you to the admin window. So we will actually add that, but right now this is the easiest way to do it. And you can set this up, duplicate this basically, not duplicate it, but you can come in and before the end if, let's say you wanted to add, or after the end if, I'm sorry, let's say you wanted to add something for your management. So if your manager types in 1, 2, 3, 5, whatever the case is, and you guys knows I'm very much into there. Tony, I'm pretty good. Thank you very much for asking me. So if we go 1, 2, 3, 5, wow, my internet is really messing up. I really apologize for that, guys. But hopefully you guys will get it. When you guys get it, it'll be really well when it's finally rendered out into YouTube. But so at the end if, you can create another one of these, basically just saying if the security box is equal to this other number, then you're going to set the field at 0 or clear it out, and you're going to go, instead of the admin window, you'll go to the management window, or you'll go to the back office or whatever. But as of right now, we haven't created the back office, so this is about as far as we can go. So we'll go ahead and we'll say that's okay, and we'll go ahead and close it off. And now if we go into exit our layout and we type in a number here, 1456, and we tell it to execute, nothing happens. But if we type in 1234 and we tell it to execute, it will take us to our window. Could not be completed because the target is not part of a related table. Okay, so what did that mean? That meant that part of our script wasn't working properly because it was too late in the stream, right? So it was too late. And what that was is that, let's go in real quick and let's just manage our scripts. We did end up on the right page. We did exactly what we wanted to do. We got in the right place. But what it's saying is, in setting this field after the fact, right? So it's saying here, we've already gone somewhere, so we can't go back and clear the field. That's what it's telling you, is that you skipped a process there. So goodness gracious. Definitely gonna need some coffee, that's for sure. So that's what it's telling us. Is this telling us that you've already left, you've gone to the admin security or the admin window, and now you're telling us to clear this box? Well, we're not even there. We're not in that same location. So if this blah, 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 if this is equal to da, da, da. So we need to build a better system or a better script where it will erase it before it leaves. But unfortunately, for our purposes right now, we don't really need to worry too much about that because we're not going to set anything in there. But I will show you guys how to do that in a later script. So for now, what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and click on the set field, and we'll delete that by pressing the delete button. And then Control S will save it for you so that now it's saved. And as you guys know, we will do a lot of things and we'll make mistakes. And the mistakes that we make, a lot of them are on purpose. We do that for the purpose of, so that you guys can, because the best way to learn is to kind of, to know what happens if you do something. If I do this, what's going to happen? And there's so many people that watch me and that have called me and talked to me, and good friends of mine all around the country and in other parts of the world that have called and talked to me and said, hey, Tim, you know, this is not working for me. Something's happened with my thing. And so you have to go through like every single thing. And it was because they did something that they probably shouldn't have done or didn't understand. But so I like to try and do things that I did in the past and then kind of let you guys see what happens and why it happens that way. So currently what happens is if this happens, then it will go to this box and then it will end the if, and then you can have an if it is not equal to, so if you wanted to, you could go here and you could say if it's not equal to that, and then clear the field. But we're basically what we would want to do is, you know, let's just fix this really quick. So let's do if, and we're gonna do if, we're gonna change it. So this one is if the if our menu security box is not equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, then we'll set the field security box to blank. And then this one, we don't want to do that, so we're good there. But we want to say, we want to come down here and we want to say, hey, if our menu security box is equal to, and we'll type in 1, 2, 3, 4. That's when we wanted to do this other stuff, right? So we'll just grab this, go to layout, and we'll bring it down here. And we'll set the field security box, security field to welcome. And now, but we do need to, if it's not equal to, it will clear the field. And if it is equal to, then it also needs to clear the field. So we'll click on the if, we'll set the field, specify, and that field is going to be in the menu selection. It's going to be the security box. calculated result will be the quotation marks. So now it says, if it's not equal to our number, we'll erase it and just call it good, and we'll end the if, and we'll halt the script. But if it is equal to, then we'll go to our layout and we'll set the field to say welcome, and we'll halt the script. So now we've basically fixed that. We'll Control S to save it, and we will exit that. Now if we exit the layout, you can't see anything over here because we've created no records. So we will need a new record. But dang burned it, I did that too fast. Oh, well, no big deal. Let's set us up a text, and we want to put the text here, Control M, and we want that to be our date. And of course, if we have to click off of it, we're going to go in, Bookman old style, 18. We'll make it yellow because we're fans of yellow, and we want it to be in the center. And I'm going to make it big because I like to make sure that it has the space to do whatever. So now if we exit the layout, we actually have to create a record for it to work. Oh, what? It didn't work. Let's go to this record and delete that record. Delete it. And we'll go into new record. It's not working. Date. Okay, so why is it not working? Oh, I bet you it's because let's just delete it. Let's go back in text, Control M. We are on table admin, date. And now we will exit the layout and create a new one. It's still not going to give me the dang date. Well, no big deal. We can actually go into, I'm just going to delete that date for now because it's kind of making me mad. But if we go into exit the layout, we should have access to this bottom thing here. Oh, we actually don't because I took it off, didn't I? So let's go into our inspector really fast, and it's admin security link, and it's not available in browse mode, but we do want to find its appearance. And as you can tell, the color of the lettering is this. So we can change it to white, or we can change it to whatever we want to, or a lighter color or a darker color. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to change it to a lighter color just so we can see if it actually did say welcome. So right now it doesn't say anything. So let's go back to our main menu, template menu, and now let's type in 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll execute it, and it'll take us here, and now you can see it says welcome at the bottom. So now you can see where that number is actually in. So when we're programming these buttons, when we're programming what we want them to do, we're going to say if this says welcome, then we can do the rest of the script. But if this does not say welcome, then just send them to a different page. That's kind of a tiny little security thing that we can put in there that really helps negotiate those issues. So that if, like when we put this block in and we say we're going to go to this space, but if this isn't equal to that, if this isn't making any sense, so it's just a tiny little, because the only time that that's going to be actually put in there, this cord is tearing me up, man, tearing me up. Dang cord. So how this works is if we go to our template menu. So how this actually works is the only way to get into the administrator box is by typing in the correct number and then pressing the execute button. But if somebody accidentally somehow something happens and they're capable of getting there through a back door or a back window somehow, it will not populate that field that we populated, the welcome field. so this will not be populated. And when we push in, when we do the exit or the execute or the menu or the invoice, or we do any of these buttons or we go anywhere, we're going to, if we get away from this page, we will clear this field. So that if anybody does end up in here, it'll only be us. Because we're going to control the information coming in and out of that field. And that's an additional layer of security that you guys will super appreciate, because it keeps people from doing things that they're not supposed to do, or that we don't want them to do, right? So here we've got our system. I have yet to figure out why my my date thing is not working. I guess I could do a field picker. Bring in the date. Although it doesn't really make any sense why it's doing that. And we will center it, and we'll change the color and do all that other neat stuff, but I'm not sure why it's not working when we control M'd, because the header is supposed to be working. So admin window, table, control M, date, okay, exit layout. So here we have our date. Matthew is going live. That's really cool. So new record, let's see what happens. Still nothing. But we do have these other records that we need to get rid of. So the best thing to do is just go to the first record and delete it. And then delete the second record. And delete the third record. Because it is literally creating records. When you press new record, it's creating a duplicate of itself. But right now it doesn't have the capacity to create a record. So that's why it's here doing nothing. It's doing nothing. Maybe you do, so this, let's see, edit layout. I'm not too worried about actually putting the date in, but we don't want it available in browse mode, so date, okay. We don't want it available in browse mode. But we do want it, let's change the appearance really quick, just so we can kind of clear it up. We want no fill color, we want no line, and the color of the letters can be just a light white color or light blue color. And you know what, you know why this didn't work? I just figured it out. We got to go into manage our database, and when we do our date, we need to say upon creation. We missed that completely. So, and it'll do a date and timestamp, an account name, whatever you want to do. We'll just do date. So that's where we messed up. And if we go back to our tables and we go to our back office, we need to make sure that this one is exactly the same, on creation. Now it will save the date every single time. So that's one of the reasons why it's not working. And I'm thinking to myself, what in the world is going on? So now if we exit the layout, well, let's just fix this really quick while we're over here. So we'll do Bookman old style. We'll do 18 because Tim really likes 18. We want it to be a beautiful yellow color. Kind of put it in the middle. Make it long. And get it set to the top. Okay. So now if we exit the layout, is it there? No. But if we create a new record, it then is now there. So now we have the date at the top of the window. Da 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 da! We've made it. Now we do need to make a back office page, and we can do the back office page. We can just recreate this page to be identical to the other page, but for back office purposes. And back office purposes are mainly just to monitor things and not really make changes to things. but have access to be able to make changes, like for addition, adding inventory and things like that. So that's the big difference between the admin and the back office. Is the admin, on the admin section, you're allowed to change everything and anything that you want to or need to. But in your back office, you can only make additions to information, not subtractions to information. So what we can do now is we can go ahead, we can edit our layout, and we can manage our layouts. And we can recreate this one and make it into another one, so we can just duplicate it. And then we're going to want to edit. And in this particular one, we want it to be, we're just going to call this back office. And I think it should let me do it, because I think they're completely, it might not let me do it. That's why I'm just thinking, let's just do this. Management. Because I'm thinking to myself, this is probably not going to work if we already have things called back office, because if it duplicate the names, it kind of messes things up. So we're just going to call it admin, or management, excuse me, and we'll call it good. And now we can go ahead and close it, and we can go into our admin window over here, our little layout thing. We'll go into our templates, and we'll see it'll say management. So now when we come to our management page, because that's where we're now on, is our management page, we can now make changes to this. So this, we need to delete the security link, the date, this date box, we can just delete it. And this one, we're just going to highlight it, back office, because I like to keep things cool. And we're going to change this to management use only. Access to this page is restricted, and I do want to make sure that it is in the center. And there it is. So now if we add a text and a Control M, we can put in our current table back office, date, click off of it, go to our Bookman old style, 18. Of course, you guys can do this however you want to. You guys don't have to make yours look exactly like mine. Please don't make yours look exactly like mine. But it just kind of gives you an idea. It's not necessarily the looks that really matter. It's all about the, there we go, that should be right. It's all about the ability and the function for it to actually work. So now if we exit the layout, we do have, this is an unrelated table, and as you notice that, it says that right there. It's an unrelated table. So do we need to put in a thing for that? Well, sure, why not? I mean, what would it actually harm? So we'll do our database, and in our back office, we're going to do a security, and we'll just call it security window. And it can be a text, and we'll create it. We're trying to keep these somewhat separate of each other. So now if we double click on this, it'll actually ask us what do we want to do. So we want to go to our related office, and we want to create, we want it to be the security window instead of the security box or the security level, whatever, all those other things. Not available in browse mode, perfect. That's exactly what we want. So we'll exit the layout, and we will create a new record. As you guys can see right here, it says there's 0 records. So this record doesn't even exist because it's not there until you create one. And now that you've created one, your date shows up and everything is where it needs to be. So from this page, when we start creating, like I said, when we start creating all of these things, right now we cannot exit this. We can't go anywhere because we haven't created a primary menu page yet. I mean, we're creating the template for the menu page, but we haven't created the primary page for the menu yet. So that's the reason why we are where we are in this particular section. So in order to get someplace, we have to physically go there now. So we have the menu template. We have, if you put a number in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, this is our admin security and tell it to execute. It'll take you to the admin page, and as you guys can see, I've lightened it or put it up there. It says administration. So we now know that this one is actually a permanent window. So if we go into, we'll go into XR layouts, and we're going to manage our, not what I wanted to do, sorry. We're going to manage our layouts. What we can do from here is we can create a new window or a new folder. I don't know why, I just wanted to just do that stuff. And we're going to call this folder, let's do admin _ manage. And we're going to put this one all the way up here underneath the unused. And so now our admin window, we can put in our admin manage, and our management page we can also put up there. So now these are in the places that we want them to be, and we can also unselect them so that they cannot be seen through the only way to get to them is for us to see them, or for us to actually go to them via a different window. So for now, we're just going to go ahead and leave these checked because we want to be able to get to them while we're working on the system until we actually create that loop, that system of where there's a button that you can go from point A to point B. And our basic menu page, we do need to finish that. I think we've pretty much got it done. So now you see the admin manage, and you see the template menu template register. So we've pretty much got this done. If we exit the layout, we've already created one record, so everything is there. One of the things that we do need to do is we need to program what these buttons are going to do and why those buttons are going to do them. And we need to start putting some data on this page, just data that we're going to want duplicated in all of the other pages that we do. But right now we're basically just doing our template pages. We do need to make, let's get started on some inventory stuff really fast. So if we edit our, because we have done nothing on the inventory, right? So we'll manage, and we're going to do our database. And if we go into our tables, you'll see there's my solution, menu, back office, admin, register, invoice. So those two are related to each other, the register and the invoice. And if we need to create, or if we're going to create multiple registers, then we'll have to create multiple register invoices. So there'd be register 1 or register 2, excuse me, and invoice 2. And then you marry those two together just like you saw that we did, and then all of that information you're going to change to a new invoice. So you have to build those invoices. You can duplicate those invoices and then change all the data on those invoices, just like you guys are seeing me do. But you can't do this after the fact. So that's why we keep the templates, because those templates are going to help us if we ever want to expand the system. It's simple. We just grab a template, we duplicate, we get the original design, and it's not married to anything, and we don't have to worry about data being coupled up inside of it. Make sense? So at this point, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to do an inventory. Now there's several different inventories that we're going to create, but this inventory is going to be our base inventory. So we can just call this inventory. We will create it. If we double click on it, it's going to take us to this fields, and currently we have no fields. So we do need, let's do a product underscore ID, and that's can be either a text or a number. Personally myself, I'd like to do numbers. We can do date, Control D. If you need a date, I like to have a date at the top of the window, just so I, like when I'm on the page, I kind of can follow the dates and stuff like that. You can put in a security window if you want to, a security field, lockbox, whatever, all those fancy schmancy things if you want to. But we are going to need a product name. We'll just do a product underscore name, and that's a Control T for text. So we know what it is. We're going to need a quantity, and this is where it really counts. So quantity is for how many of them do you have in your inventory? How many do you have in stock currently? And if you have multiple places that you're putting stuff, you can create different quantities. So you can say quantity main store, quantity warehouse, quantity whatever, incoming, whatever you want to do. And I'll show you guys how to do some of that stuff. But for right now, we're just going to do quantity, and that's going to be a Control N, so it'll be a number. And then, so you've got your product ID, the date, the product name, the quantity, and now we are going to start dealing with things like how much did you can keep track of how much did you pay for it and how much do you want to sell it for. So you can say wholesale price, retail price, if you want to. You don't have to add that stuff on your system. But I like to kind of keep track of how much I paid for stuff. So we'll just do underscore wholesale price, and that's a number. Retail underscore price, and that's also a number. So now we have the wholesale price, retail price, and if you want to do things on sale, you want to put something temporarily on sale, you can put in now sale price. So if you ever intend on having a sale, you can do that. And the cool thing about it is when you write your script, you can say if the sale price window is empty, then just go with the regular price. But if there's something in there, use that price first. So that way you can go in at a whim and you can change the price. You can put something on sale like right now and have a doorbuster sale. It's good for 1 hour, and then go back in and take it out and it's done. Sale is over and you're ready to go on. So that's why I like to actually have all of those in there, so I know what did I pay for it. That's kind of a big thing, because you don't want to, your sale price, you kind of want to keep it, you don't want to like lose too much money in there, right? So we now have a sale price, and that is also a number. And then any other information that you might want. So if you have, we're obviously going to need a category, because I like to have my things categorized in my inventory. I don't like them just to be all over the place. So that if I have like, beers, I want all my beers to be in the right place, imported beers or whatever. So, or if I've got pencils, I want number 2 pencils, number 4 pencils, number 6, or pens or markers or crayons or whatever. I want those to be separated so I can kind of figure out where everything is at, and I can go right to that product if I need to make changes to it. So the category is kind of a big thing, and that's a Control T because it is a text. And obviously you guys pretty much have in your head what it is that you want, and you can just kind of start adding those, and you're going to have a lot of them. It's very typical that you have a large number of information that you want on there. I will also put in like a note box, and the reason why I put in a note box, and it's also a text, is because what it does is the note box will give you, if you can use it to say, because you can program in there, you can say if the quantity is less than a certain number, like less than 5, then you put in your note box reorder, and then you can sort everything by that by if the window says reorder. And so then it'll all of a sudden it'll populate a field, and you'll have 8 or 10 products or something that says reorder, and you'll be like, oh, okay, great, I have to reorder this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and it makes life so much easier, right? But in order to do that, you need a minimum quantity, right? So we'll put in minimum underscore quantity, and that's a number button, or a number, so we'll go ahead and create that one. And how that works is, like I was just saying, if when you sell something, and this is how it works, like your script for selling a product, it'll go in and it'll do a lot of checking for you. So it'll say, you know, take this number, and then you just put in a short, like, if quantity is less than minimum quantity, set field, note box equals reorder. You know, reorder. Set the field note box, and then the thing would say reorder. So that will get you to, like, instantaneous. And you can even make it red if you want to. Like, you can make the print or the font red, so that it's just like, okay, I know I have to reorder that. And you can also set up what's called a sorting order, so that when you get in there, you can sort records by a specific field. You can say, I want to sort these records by this field, or I can sort records by if they say reorder. Especially, this works really super well if you have thousands of products in your store or in your inventory, and you're just going, holy bejesus, how am I going to keep track of all this stuff? How am I going to order? How am I going to know when I'm low? So what you can do is you can set up emergency, or you can set up all kinds of windows. So the minimum quantity window works really well. Because, you know, like I do, if I run down and I've got 5 coils left in a specific category, I have to reorder those, like, right now. It's kind of an emergency. But I can also set it up to where if I have less than 10, then set a reminder. Like, so you can do like minimum quantity, and then you can do like minimum quantity B or something. Minimum quantity A, minimum quantity B. So in the B category, it would be like emergency, 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 you know, so that it will automatically fix a lot of problems for you if you have those issues. I don't tend to have those issues because I set my minimums pretty high. And I kind of know as a management and as an administrator, I kind of say, all right, you know, this product's not doing really well, so I got a couple of months. I don't really have to worry about filling this order right now anyway. So we have the product ID, we have the date that we're going to use at the very top, we have a product name, a quantity, the wholesale price, retail price, sale price, category, note box, and a minimum quantity. That should pretty much sum up everything I can possibly think of that you might want. Now, you can do a last sold date or an LSD, and what that tells you is you don't have to do it. I mean, you don't have to, but what it will do is every time you sell the product, it'll change the date in that little window that you can put on that line, and it'll basically say this is the last day that we sold that product. If you have products that, like you're in a little high-end boutique store or something, and you've ordered some products, and you kind of want to keep track of how those products are selling, you can do that. You can have a last sold date, and then every time you sell a product, it will change the date on that LSD, and you'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, I just sold one of these yesterday, or I just had a sale of these yesterday, whatever. So anything else that you want to add to this, feel free to do that. This looks like it's pretty set for me, so I'm pretty gold with that. And we will go ahead and call this good. But now what we want to do is we do need to make some major changes, because in our new window or new layout, it's not this type of layout. It's actually going to be a layout that is it's a form view or a list view. It's not going to be a form view. So your logo that goes over the top of this is what I call an anchor logo, because it's actually anchoring this piece and this piece. But I do want to make something really, I want to set you guys out really super fast. So this is a, as you guys can see stuff in there, that's kind of funny. But, oh look, you can see the green screen. But this is the thing that I use for register. It's just a tablet. As you can see, it's just a tablet. You can see like, oh look, there's all Tim's computer stuff and all those other interesting things. But so yeah, this is just a tablet that I use. And one thing that you want to do when you have the ability to do it is you want to be able to go in. Let's see if I can turn this around. And we want to go into hosts. All right, well, we'll do that next time because Josh and I were just talking about doing some stuff on the internet. But one of the things that you want to do is you want to, download your, let's just cancel that really quick. You want to go ahead and download your app for your iPad so that you can get onto it, which is kind of a big deal. And then you want to come into this file thing here and then share your solution. So you just want to share it with FileMaker clients, and then you can share it on your local Wi-Fi. And once you have it on your local Wi-Fi, because if you just share with your client, like what we're doing right here, let's see, host, local host, should be, I think this should be set up. So if we share it, sweet, glad it went all over there. Okay, let's see if it works without totally messing it up. Just, do you remember how to set this up?
Set what up?
This local host. Do we have to actually type in the numbers? We actually have to add the local host, right? I think that's how you do it. So you just go into File, Sharing, Share with FileMaker clients, and then it's going to give you some numbers. There'll be like a little window that pops up. Thank goodness it's not popping up on that window. But let me type it in here. And then we'll move on. Okay. Okay, so now that I've typed it in there, it's going to show me, it's going to actually give me a, oh, it's giving me the old one. That's kind of weird. Okay, so I do need to get rid of this. These dang iPads, let me tell you, they're kind of weird. How do you exit this? I normally have Josh do all this stuff, but okay. So we'll just go. Let's see. It's kind of funny because I felt bad. I was going to show you my system that I'm currently using, but the iPad's being a little funny. So on my system, it shows you like where it's set up. So if you share your system, I want to be able to get out of here. I don't want to do that. Let me see if I can figure out how to quick do this. I don't usually mess with the iPad part very much, so I'm usually the guy that's in the back doing the rest of it. Josh, how do you escape this?
Escape what?
I'm on the wrong register. I need to escape, get out of that. I put in the new host. I wanted to show the people. Okay, so there it is. Oh, it's not even in there. That's kind of weird. Maybe you're only allowed to share one of them at a time, because I'm currently sharing there. Okay, so this is probably going to shut the other one off. Hopefully we don't get any customers come in. Dang it. All right, well, anyway, we'll figure that out, and we'll get you guys to we'll definitely get that fixed. And then, but what the point was, I'm sorry that I've spent so much time messing around, but the point was, what I want, if you share it on your network and you put the numbers in like I asked you to, and like you should be doing, then what you're going to do is you're going to see your solution on your system. You're going to see it. It's going to be there. And then you just get into it, and then you can make changes on your computer so that everything fits in the window exactly how you want it to do. And then once you've done that, once you've made all of those changes, my solution to all users? Okay. Anyway, once you've done that and you've created that, what happens is you can, let's go to a list. Nope, not going to work. Okay. There it is, my solution. So as you guys can see, I just put the solution on my iPad. And you can see how well it's laid out, how everything fits in there. And so now if I was to make a change, like I was to push in a button, and let me just exit the layout, and I was to type in something, done, and I execute it. Did you guys notice that the number came up here in my window? And now it took me to my admin window. So that's what we're trying to create, guys. That's what we're trying to do. Now I just need to go turn that off really fast. Sharing off, because we run our store through the other one. So I just want you guys to understand that I don't want to mess up everything. So I wanted to make sure that we got this like set up, and you guys can see how it's set up. It's going to be reverse for you because I'm showing it to you at a different camera angle, but what you're seeing is the finished product on your iPad, and that's where you need to be. You need to, once you see it on your iPad, you can say, wow, look at that. Everything fits exactly like I want it to. It's all in the right spot, and it works. Ta-da, see? So that's what we're going to create. So from here on, let's go in. I've got a few minutes left. I want to go ahead and create a new layout. So we'll just exit. We'll get into this. We'll do layouts. We're going to do a new layout or report, or let's do this instead. I want to manage my layouts, and I'm going to create another one of these. So I want to take my inventory one, uncheck it, and move it up into the unused file. And it's not going to let me do it until I open it. There you go. Now if we close it, it's inside of there. So I just got so overly excited, you guys. It's just insane. You guys are like, oh my goodness, Tim, shut up. but because I just came up with an idea. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this template menu, and I'm going to duplicate it. And then what I want to do is open it right on top of this other one. And I'm going to come over here and just close this out really fast. And I need to edit the layout quick, because as long as this box is right here, this is what's going to mess me up. I can't have this in my system, so I need to delete it. And I can leave everything else pretty much the same. I'm not going to need these, so I might as well delete them. Delete them. I'm actually not going to need any of this stuff, except for maybe a few boxes. But these boxes all have to go in the same place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these boxes, make them smaller, move them up into the header. Take my date, move my date over so it's out of the way. So now what I'm doing is I'm changing it so that I can use it for something else. I do have to delete this, and I do have to delete my lines. And now if I go in and I do this layout, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Manage layouts. Okay, so this manage the layouts, we need to edit it. And ooh, wait, cancel. I don't want to do that. I got to get rid of everything. If there's even one thing that's in this way, it will mess it up. So now we need to go in. Actually, we can close this out now because we've already made that change. So let's go in and manage our layouts. And this menu copy layout, we need to edit it. And we're going to call this one the base underscore inventory. And we're going to call, it's going to go inventory include in layouts menus. And we can either say yes or no, it's okay. But right now it's fine that we do that. And the views that we want is a list view, not a form view. So we have to go into views and we have to make those changes. Default view will be a list view. And we'll call it good. Now we have our base inventory. So if we go ahead and close this down, and as you can see, if you move this around, there's nothing behind it. We'll go over and we're going to go into our templates and our base inventory page, and ta-da, here it is, but there's nothing here. So now we're going to grab this bottom one and we're going to move it up. Like so. Now you can leave the base on there if you want to. It's not a big deal. But we now need to start doing the field picker thing. And let's see, we are in table, inventory, modify, name, base inventory, inventory. Okay, so we're in the right spot. So product ID, we'll put the product ID in the body. And do make sure, guys, that you are doing it without labels, because the labels will really mess you up if you do it currently like that. Okay, so with product ID, product name, we're going to start adding all these things in here, and you can leave them in the windows for now. That's okay. And you can do the price, the category. I like to do category. We're just going to close this off a little bit so it's not, because my categories are not giant. They're not like 5 bazillion words long or whatever. Of course, my product names aren't that long either. So, and the product IDs are usually less than I actually have to go fix that really quick. But I usually start my product ID. It's a serial number, and it's usually going to be at starts at 1,000, so it's 4 characters, and then it works up. So now we've got that. We do need to get rid of our date because we don't need that anymore. And now we're going to have the quantity and then the prices. So the quantity, how many do we actually have in stock? If you have thousands of them, you might need a bigger window. And then I want to do my minimum quantity all the way over here on the other side, because I kind of want it to just be totally out of the way. And then we'll have the wholesale price, which is going to bring up behind here. Then the retail price, which I'm going to put here. Put the sale price next to it. Now these things we can move and adjust any way that we want to, so don't worry about it. So I can grab both of these and move them. We can put in the note box and close that up a little bit. So now the note box, the retail, these prices, so when we do this, let's go into our inspector, because we need to make sure that these are, and obviously none of this is going to be available in browse mode except for the administrator, but we do want these to be changed because they are currency and fixed number of decimals and system settings, and we're good to go. And the wholesale will be this exact same thing. It's going to be a currency, fixed number of decimals, and system settings. And our quantity are just regular windows, so we should be good with that. So our sale price and retail price, I want to put those in the middle. The wholesale price, I also want to put in the middle. As a matter of fact, I should have just put all of these in the middle. Except for my minimum numbers, which I want to keep as far out of the way as I possibly can. Quantities, quantity and category is also in the middle, but my product name, I want to keep it all the way to that one side, as well as my product ID, keep it all the way to the left-hand side. So now you can see I have plenty of space left, which is really super good. And I have my minimum quantity, my note box, my category, sale price, retail price, quantity, product ID. I have all of that information on there, and I can fill in all of it if I want to, or not fill it in if I want to, or whatever I want to do. So from this point, the best thing to do at this point now is we need to format or go to a part setup. And we want to create a header. And this header is going to be created by, it will be like a, let's just do a sub-summary when sorted by, because I like or you can have it anything you want to actually, but I want to just do a sub-summary when sorted by, because I like that one. It tends to be my most favorite one. And I want to print it above it. And then you can have a footer if you want to, which will print something below it. But I think we're done with that right now. But the header, I do need to make it a little bit bigger. So we do need to go into our inspector and our position, because as you can tell, the height is pretty dang small, and it kind of needs to be about 30. So that when we actually do something up there, it works. So we can come in, we can do our text, Control M, that's merge fields. This is not in the back office, it's with our current table, which is inventory, and we're going to do the category. So now we unclick it, we can move it where we want it. And obviously, you guys know me, I'm a big fan of color. I like to keep things just popping. We'll do 14 because 14 is plenty big enough. And Bookman Old Style. Now you can make this bold if you want to, or not make it bold if you want to, whatever. But you do need to make sure that you elongate it, especially if you have a category that is like a long-term category, a larger one. So now when you go into exit your layout, you will show, it'll be nothing. There will be nothing here until you create a new record. And then all of a sudden your records will start popping up, and you can start filling them in as you want to. We did make a minor mistake, but it's no big deal. What we want to do is we want to go into our database really quick, and we want to go into the inventory product ID number, because this number is actually a serial number, and we want that serial number to start at 1,000. Now you can do 10,000 depending on how many products you have. I mean, if you start at 1,000, all your numbers stay at 4-digit numbers, and it's good all the way up to 9,999. So that's a lot of product that you can put in there. If you have a lot more product than that, you can start at 10,000 and put that product ID number in. Now, if you have a SKU, and you're using a scanner, you actually have to create another box, and that box is an SKU box. But that has nothing to do with this serial number. So you will need to relate those, however, when you're doing this. So we'll generate it on creation. We'll call that good. And the product name, quantity, all that are neat stuff, we are good to go with that. So we should be okay. So now if we exit the layout, you can see we actually have a record, but there's actually nothing in there. So it's not really even a record. So we can delete that record, delete it, create a new record, and it starts with 1,000. So now if you put in, and we're just going to quick do this so that you guys, but we'll start with whatever you want. This one would be dog, bed, whatever. Typed it in. This is the category. And so we'll play along. Pet supplies, I have 10 of them. And if you guys didn't remember the prices, don't worry about it. It's okay, because the second we create a brand new record, then we're going to go in and sort. And we're going to sort those by the category. And ascending or descending order, custom value based on whatever. We'll tell it to sort. So now we all of a sudden see that we now have pet supplies, and this is in the pet supplies. Well, now that we have that, what we can do is we can go in and say, we can add labels to that section, if that makes sense. So now if we go in to edit our layout, we can go in and we can start adding labels to those things. So text, we'll say category. It's odd that I didn't pick, well, let's just get it right here on the, I don't know why it's not going to the center, but there we go. This, I do definitely want this to be yellow. I don't know why it wasn't yellow. It's not turning out to be yellow. So now we have a category, and we can control that, and we can also put quantity. Get that in the center. As close as you can possibly get it, and then you can do your sale price and all that other neat stuff. Obviously, I don't want to take up all your time today because I know you guys are busy. But that's what we're going to do. So from this point on, you guys fill in the rest of this. You guys should be right up even Steven with me. Fill in the rest of the categories or the rest of these little labels so you guys can see what you're doing, so you know where that is. And it will always be on your header. It will always be on your header. If you need to put a description in there, it says I mean, if you really want to put in here, scrunch up your system or make this header bigger, you can do that. I don't necessarily need to know that the first two things are the product ID number and the name. It's pretty self-evident, especially when you start putting any information in the system at all. But this is how we start the system. Now, if you want to, this is a super simple thing to do, but once you get all your categories and stuff in, you can start putting product in all day long. If you want to have someone sit down and just type in a product and product and product, if you want to do that, or if you have all your product on Excel, that works as well too, because you can import all that data. You just have to tell it, you know, like the lines that you have on Excel, like the G6 or G, whatever, the G line, the H line, the A line, whatever those lines are. What do you want? You know, you want to tie that, so that is equal to, A is equal to, you know, product ID. Or B, you don't want to mess with the product ID, but you know what I mean. It would be the product description, the quantity, whatever information that you might have on Excel or you have that is set up for you. You can easily download that and bring it right into, or import that right into your system. So if you have that, just let me know and I can kind of maybe help you do that. I personally myself just put all my data in there. I don't really keep any of it on Excel, but that's because I've been using the system forever and ever and ever, amen. So I kind of know everything and it's already in my system. So I actually have to import it from a different FileMaker to this one. So it's not that big a deal. But anyway, until next time, guys, you guys have been amazing. I sure apologize for taking up so much of your time, but I just got so excited with this. And we will see you guys in the next stream. I know that Luculent is doing a bunch of stuff on the other channel. So if you guys have an opportunity, you can definitely check us out there as well. But obviously, this is the place to come if you want to do computer programming with FileMaker. And this will conclude episode 3. Until next time, you guys remember, as always, be good to each other. You guys are amazing, and thanks for joining me.